You're listening to Chasms of the Mind, a show where I, Chas Bruns, ask my guests random questions about life. Enjoy. What's up, guys? I hate to admit it, it's kind of embarrassing. I forgot to hit record on my camera, so there's no footage of me for this episode, but everything with Jana came out great. You're gonna love it. Enjoy. I'd like to welcome to all of you guest number 2, the beautiful, talented Jana Savage, who happens to randomly be here in the frozen tundra of Maine, normally living in LA for how long now?
About 13 years. My sister decided to have a baby in the cold. I really wish she could have planned that better, but...
Yeah, so you're leaving back to do some new projects.
I am.
I do want to talk to you about those.
Okay.
I need to clear the air about something.
Oh, God.
I dated Jana in first grade.
It's my first boyfriend.
And I found out the other day, we were at your brother's house. Mm-hmm. You've been telling your family that I cheated on you.
Yeah, he was a whore. You were a whore back then.
No, who's the girl that you said that I left you for?
Her name was Beth. And you didn't leave her for me, but I broke up with you. And your response was, that's okay. I still have Beth anyway. So I guess, yeah, maybe you were double dipping.
See, I think this is a made-up person.
No, I remember her. She was cute.
Oh.
She was I remember that we were friends, but I couldn't go to her house because she didn't have proper parental supervision.
Okay. Well, the way that I remember this story is that my sister was good friends with your sister.
True.
And she said to me, now that you are Jana's boyfriend,
mm-hmm.
you're going to need to do boyfriend things.
Okay.
And to me, that meant that I needed to kiss you. And first grade Chas got extremely nervous. And I went and I took your stuffed animal, the monkey.
Yep, Artie.
Yep. And I threw him down the stairs.
My basement stairs, yep.
To end the relationship. That was my out. Sabotaged everything.
So sad.
And I'm sad about it, but I think you've gone on to bigger and better things, so it worked out for you.
I mean, different things.
Yes.
Different. And here we are.
You rescue dogs. You want to talk a little bit about rescuing dogs?
I love rescuing dogs. Yeah. I rescued my first dog 11 years ago. Growing up here, I didn't really know about shelters.
Yeah.
And so I wanted a dog, and I, called a breeder, and I was like, this doesn't seem right. I keep hearing about all these rescue things. So then I went into a shelter, and I, lost my fucking mind. I was like, there's dogs everywhere. So I got the ugliest dog I could find, which I think now he's beautiful, but he looked like a little rat. And then I was just like, I have to do something. So ever since then, I volunteered at the shelter, and I have 3 dogs now. I foster sometimes. All my friends have dogs from me, all my family members. There's, dogs from East LA who live here in Maine now.
Welcome. Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, yeah. I've sent probably about 10 dogs back here.
Now, how do you let them go if you foster them for a while and get attached? Because that would be my problem.
The first time was really hard. I had this rescue dog named Tina Fey.
Awesome.
We named her when we were drunk, and we were like, this won't stick. And it has. That was 9 years ago.
Yep.
And she looked just like my other dog, and she was really scared, and I was like, how am I going to let her go? And it was really hard to find her at home at first because she's not your classically beautiful dog, but it's my kind of dog. She's a little weirdo. And I found her this amazing home, and I drove her there, and I was weeping, and I'm like, I'm doing the right thing. So that one was really, really hard, but I still am in touch with her family. I still see her sometimes. But then after that, it got a lot easier. And plus, you go to the shelter and you see all these animals that don't get out alive, and so it's hard to be too sad about an animal going to a great home. That's, you get over that pretty quickly once you lose a couple of the first few dogs I lost at the shelter that I was connected to that were put down. I kind of got over that pretty quick. It is sad, but it's just you get over it.
Well, you made a good point too that the dogs, as long as they go to a good home, granted they have to go to a good home, but they
I generally like to not rescue dogs and then put them in homes.
Yeah. But my point is, as long as they're happy, yes, they do remember you. If they saw you in a year, they know it's you.
And they do remember you for the most part. But
yeah, but in general, they move on too.
Yeah.
So for me, I'd be like, oh my God, where's Bobby the dog that I loved? And that dog is playing frisbee with his new owner.
He's sitting somewhere
care.
Going, Chas.
Yeah, just thinking of me and finding a way. But so this brings me to my question. By the way, I decided to call my little list for future episodes. This is from the Book of Chas. So these are questions from the Book of Chas. I think you'll really like this. So my parents' dog loved me when she was younger. And then I went away for a year or something and came back, and she was kind of distant and weird no matter what I did. And one day I had this concept pop in my head. So humans have dreams, right? And when I was a little kid, I had a dream that my mom like spanked me really bad, and it was so vivid and real to me that I didn't talk to my mom for like 3 days.
You were mad.
Yeah. So do you think that dogs have dreams? And let's say in her dream she thinks I stole her bone or whatever, and she wakes up and can't differentiate between
what's real and what's not.
Yeah. Do you think that's possible for dogs?
I don't see why not. I mean, they certainly dream. I've seen my dogs dream.
Yeah, but do you think they can separate it?
But do they dream? I wonder if they dream in that deep of a state. Because I always see my dogs sleeping when they're dreaming, and they're like, yeah. I wonder if they get to that deeper level of REM.
Yeah, I think they do. They're just like any other animal.
I mean, I don't know.
But my question is, do you think if they say they have a bad dream about you, and they're like, oh, mom didn't feed us, or mom stole our ball, do you think they then hold a grudge and imagine in their own mind that you actually did it?
No, Chas,
they don't
I think your dog just didn't like you. I don't think so. I'd like to spin it for you, but I don't think so.
So what would make my parents' dog be mad at me then? If I hadn't seen her in a year, think she was just mad I was gone?
It could be that. No, that I could see more happening of it. It's almost like she was punishing you, but she didn't get over it.
So you don't think dogs remember their dreams? It's just a passing thing, and they just wake up and they're like, whatever. Yeah.
My cat was
I was
like
hoping
that.
you would think the opposite.
No,
I think dogs are smarter than people give them credit for. I think they just can't talk, but they're pretty smart.
Very smart. But no, I don't. No. I just think it would happen to people. I mean, people don't. I don't think people maintain an anger from a dream. I mean, definitely in the morning.
I did though as a kid. Like
for how long though?
For 3 days I was mad.
3 days.
I granted I knew it was a dream, but the dream was so vivid and real that I was like, screw you, mom, you're a jerk. I don't even remember what she did in the dream. She spanked me for something that I probably deserved. But so if me as like a 7-year-old holds a grudge, I imagine a dog might.
Well, what was your dog's name?
Oh, Kiora, my parents' dog. Yeah.
Kiora?
Yep, she's still alive actually. She's
12. I was
12.
gonna say she's up in heaven. She's not mad at you anymore, but maybe she is still mad at you since she's still alive.
No, we've made up since.
Okay.
I think whatever I did to her in the dream, she's forgiven me for.
Well, dogs are very emotionally complex creatures, so
that's true.
Anything's possible, I guess.
I'm mad you didn't agree with me on that. Moving on to the next question.
I'm not going to agree with you just because you want me to. It's not who I am.
Jana. People love the drama. We can fight on every question here. Okay. Next question here. Certain celebrities say they don't watch their own content.
Oh,
right? Have you heard people say this?
Johnny Depp said
yes, Johnny Depp has said it. I've seen him in interviews. And for me, every time I hear them say that, I'm like, are they just trying to sound cool, like that they're too busy to watch their own stuff, or that there's really something behind it? So my question to you, do you watch things you've acted? Because you're an actress, writer. You've done it all pretty much. Do you go back and watch your own stuff and review yourself? Because I do.
Over and over.
Yeah, because I personally want to know if I look weird, if I sound weird, or if I sucked.
I also think it's not like I have this humongous pool of footage to pull from where like I've made it so big that I don't have to get excited about acting and things. Like now if I didn't like my performance or the way I looked, maybe I wouldn't watch it more than once, but like I want to know.
Yeah, because I want to know if I suck.
Yeah, right? I was like,
you can think you're looking a certain way or doing a certain thing, and you watch and you're like, oh, that's how I look. Like,
yeah. I will say though that since I started writing, when I'm watching my like movies and I'm in, I forget that I'm in them because I'm so focused on like if the movie itself is good enough.
Yeah.
So it's definitely reprioritized. Whereas if like I was just acting in some movie, I might not pay attention to my scene or be really nervous about it. But every time I watch something, I forget a minute until I'm in it, and then so
you gotta help me think of her name. You're better at names than me. The girl from that '70s show. She's married to Ashton Kutcher.
Oh, Mila Kunis.
Yeah, so Mila Kunis the other day, I heard in an interview, she said she's never watched a single episode of that '70s show. Do you believe her?
I find that hard to believe, but
right?
I mean, I don't know what she gains from lying about it. I don't want to call her a liar.
I don't know. It's mind-boggling. So I'm glad that
I would
we
think
agree on that.
Especially too, it wasn't like she was really famous before that, so you'd think there would be at least a time period where it was like new and exciting, and like, oh my god, I'm on TV.
Yeah, but she claims she didn't. So okay, good. So I felt kind of like a weirdo that I always watch myself. I mean, I kind of have to because I edit like my travel show. I edit it, so I have to see. But even whatever movies I've done, I immediately like the second it comes out, I go watch it. So I was like, wait, is that not professional? Should I be? I think Morgan Freeman's another one that said that he said he was like in a hotel room once, and anytime he pops up on the screen, changes the channel. I'm just like, I'd be curious to.
I bet it gets old.
Yeah. Well,
but I'm
pretty vain though.
If I see either of them, I'll ask him.
Okay, good. Okay, what do I got in here next? Oh, this is a good one. You won something on The Price is Right.
One is a strong word. They were consolation prizes.
Oh, I thought you got something big. What did you get? A ping pong table or something? I remember.
No, Chaz, that was because I didn't ever get on stage. I'm still upset about it. I was the fifth so like, you know, they have the first 4 people that they call up at the beginning of the show, right?
Yeah.
I was the first one called up after that. So I was pretty much on contestant's role the whole goddamn time, and I never got on stage.
Really?
It was my fault.
Why do I have a memory of you being on stage in some clip that I saw or something?
No, I mean, I made a big splash for the time I was on camera. It was really loud. And
didn't you dance around and scream?
I danced.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I'm thinking of then.
No, my consolation prize was a trip to Vegas and a ping pong table.
Well, the reason I wanted to ask you is people are hardcore fans of that and are curious, you know, is it rigged? How do you get chosen? So what did you do? You just waited in line?
No. I mean, you have to make an impression, and you have about 10 seconds to do it. So the producers, like, they go through every single person that's there. Yep. And you have, like, 10 seconds to just be as crazy as you can. And they want the craziest person, right? That's what. Yeah, I had a bit of a leg up because at the time I was in college, and I was literally living across the street. At Park La Brea. You're in Park La Brea. Yeah. That's where we were doing a semester in California. It was like abroad, but obviously not abroad. Yeah. So but because I was from Boston, it was like a college extravaganza. So it was all a bunch of college students. So it seemed like I'd come from far away. Yeah. So I had a bit of an upper hand there because it seemed like I had traveled all this distance. So I used that to my advantage. I made a t-shirt. It's good to be you, Bob. Nice. I want to be you. I did a toe touch. What? You did? They were awesome. Yeah. I did a toe touch. And I told all my friends, I was like, I'm getting on stage. And they there was no ping pong table. For some reason I thought there was a ping pong table. But that was just a consolation prize. Yeah. Okay. And then I gave it to my brothers because I was not living. Couldn't you take money though? And you can do either no. You have to pay taxes. Right? So I wanted to just get money because like if I play Plinko, there's no like. It's not your money to begin with, so whatever they take out in taxes, it's like great. So I just wanted to play Plinko and spin the wheel. That's all I wanted. Yeah. And neither of those things happened. That's still pretty cool though that you did that. Yeah. That's like 0.001% of society has ever. I mean, it was. I've had. I don't know exactly what my life goals are, but I know 2 of them were to be on The Price is Right and to meet John Bon Jovi. And within my first year in LA, I had done both. Oh, that's right. I forgot you. So I peaked. You got a picture with him too. I did. Yep. I touched him. That's pretty cool. I'm not even a fan of him. I think that's pretty cool. Well, I'm a fan, but I'm not a fan like you're a fan. No, I have a thing. Yeah. Yeah, I touched him. So how you said it was 12 years ago, and you actually didn't. I can't remember if it was all 3 of you, but didn't you stay on my couch for a little while? Adrian and I did. Yep. Yeah. For how long? 2 weeks, I think. We stayed on like your futon. And at that point, when you moved out there, because I was busy and doing other things, and I don't remember exactly. Were you both coming out there to try to work in entertainment? Because you started as an accountant, right? Yeah, no, I came out and I had been asking Adrian for like ever to come with me, and then finally she was like, sure, we'll go. I'll go. So she was kind of just like along for the ride. Yeah. But I had already done an internship in college, so I knew like I wanted to be in the entertainment industry. But for like, I've been in LA for like 13 years, and I think the first 10 of those I had a day job. Yeah. And I have an economics degree. You have a math brain, yeah. Yeah, I have an economics degree. Which is really funny because you wouldn't ever think that would go with writing and entertainment, but it obviously did. I am an enigma dipped in a mystery. But you're not doing it anymore. You've been living off for the past 3 years. You've just been focused on entertainment. I've been living off my craft, as they say. You are a champion. No, it's pretty awesome. I mean, it's terrifying half the time, but it's exciting. Well, that's a perfect segue, actually. Let's go into some of your resume now. Oh, my God. So, is it Reality High or hashtag Reality High? You have to say the hashtag? Yeah, I mean, I usually just say Reality High because I feel stupid and old saying hashtag Reality High. Yeah. But, yeah, that is the title. So this is a movie that Jana co-wrote that's on Netflix, so go watch it right now. I'll put a link to the trailer. Right. Yeah, just shut this podcast off, go watch it. Help Jana get some money. But it's more, I hate to say this because you're probably sick of people saying it, but it's kind of like a new version of Mean Girls that involves a lot of social media. There's obviously different layers, it's a totally different spin, but that's the way I would describe it. Yeah, I mean, we didn't reinvent the wheel. I mean, I think our thing was we wanted to make I mean, the script itself, it's funny. It started out much more of like a teen comedy, and it ended up more of a coming of age.
Yeah.
With comedy
it's still
in
pretty
it.
fun, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's comedy in it, but it's funny just how through the rewrite process and production, and you know, we had great creative people on it, but they kind of know what the market wants, and right now it's more of the YA, and so. But basically, like both my writing partners are both men of color, and they love, but they always grew up loving like John Hughes movies, and like they would watch these movies and never see themselves represented.
Yeah.
And so for us, both of our leads are Black, and that was very important. So it's like, no, we weren't reinventing the wheel with a story, which many people would like point out in the. Well, I try not to read the comments, but we made a really like sweet.
But it's not even like Mean Girls was the first Mean Girls. Like there's been coming of age high school movies since the beginning of time, and I personally thought this was really well done. Like,
thank you.
Because for me, I kind of just, both of us, we went to high school together, came at the tail end of right when cell phones were coming around and stuff. So we didn't deal, and I can't imagine as a girl in high school with like when Snapchat came out and naked selfies and all the stuff that can happen with social media. I can't imagine. And
it's like
that.
permanent. Like I was terrified enough as it was, and there's no like permanent record of things that we did. Pretty much
there is. It's up in the shoebox upstairs.
I know now that I say that. But for the most part, if you do something embarrassing happens to you, like, I mean, not that like back then, it could maybe ruin your life for a year or two, but now it's like, it's kind of scary. So I thought like adolescence was nerve-wracking enough, so having to deal with that extra added pressure, it's pretty terrifying. Yeah. So we wanted to, address that, and that made, give it a little bit of a different kind of vibe or twist than other teen movies. But to your point, like, you really are, basically just retelling Shakespeare over and over again with every movie. So we just wanted to make it good, and we were proud of it, and it had a good message.
Because, so me, I'm not like the main audience for that movie. And when you posted on Facebook to watch it, I was like, because I want to support you and go see it. I was just curious to see what you created. I thought it was great.
You're like, this is shit.
No, I really I actually watched it from beginning to end. I was down at my dad's camp, and I think
Thank you, because that makes a difference in watching. You have to watch it like 75% way through or something to count. So
but I had other options, was my point. I could have been outside like on a boat in summer instead. On a nice summer night, I went in and watched it from beginning to end, and I thought it was great.
Thank you.
So if you are watching this or listening to this and you are curious about what Jana's doing, go check it out. But that's not the end of the story. Tell us about the new projects you're working on.
That's the end.
What was it here? It's The Trap is your next one coming out with Mike Epps, T.I. and Queen Latifah.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn
cool.
Who
would have thought?
Right?
This main gal.
Yep.
That's coming out. I'm not sure when. It's probably going to be released on Netflix. It's a stoner comedy.
Nice.
It's about weed fried chicken, to be honest. Okay. I'll leave it at that. It's about two guys who accidentally end up selling weed infused fried chicken, and
I think that's all that needs to be said.
That's all that really needs to be said. Mike Epps, T.I. So that should be coming out on, you guessed it, 4/20.
Oh God, amazing. So. And then I don't know how much you can say about this project. It's called Praise This.
It's called Praise This,
and that's in production, or
it's in development at Universal. It was with the producer on that was Will Packer. He did Girls Trip, the Ride Along movies. He just did What Women Want, and he's just like killing it. Like every movie that they have like premieres at #1. So we were really excited to get to work with them. Yeah. And they had read one of the scripts that we had written, actually, which takes place in Maine, funny enough, which is how they kind of got to know us. And then they had this kind of concept, like it's like Sister Act 2 meets Pitch Perfect. And so we had to basically come up with a story and go in and pitch that. And so that's in development over at Universal right now. And then we have a bunch of other projects that are in like various stages of development that we're really excited about. Like, I can't like talk too much.
You're not allowed yet.
It's not like anything like cool or anything. It's just nothing is like sure until it's like going into production or you had some sort of press release about it. So it's just, but we have a couple that are could be really promising and would really, kind of could be changers for us. So we're like really excited about it. And they're both projects that because lots of times you'll get like assignments.
Yeah.
Like somebody will have a bit of an idea and you have to come up with it. And you still end up like really putting yourself into the project and loving it, but it's a little bit different than when you come up with a concept yourself. And
yeah.
So both of those projects, one's a TV show, one's a film, are ideas and concepts that we had come up with ourselves. And so we're really excited about those. But, in the meantime, we're always pitching. We have like 3 or 4, pitching a project at Sony where, so it's hard to keep track because you have to keep so many irons in the fire so that you, A, don't go crazy waiting for one. Yeah. And B, because it's just, things take so long. Yeah,
and for people that are listening that don't really know the entertainment industry, you can write something and it can be optioned or even made and then get shelved. Jana could write something. They could say love it, they buy it from her, and then they never make it.
Yeah, it's crazy to me. But
yeah, it is crazy.
People make a living, and they're like, I've never had anything produced.
Yeah, there are writers in LA that are living
but have
off their
very large houses.
Yeah.
So I just like to be somewhere in between there.
Yeah. What ideally you want to get stuff made, and it's funny that it was Will Packer because I typed his name in last night when I kind of look at your background. Jana got asked her a week ago to give me a list of things that she had done, and she waited till like the midnight hour to message me.
I was very, very busy. Yesterday,
it's fine.
Drinking rosé.
Deciding if she's even going to do the podcast.
No.
But she came.
I did.
And so I'm researching last night in order for this to occur. And Will Packer has a video where he's talking about getting shut down by every studio in Los Angeles when he was looking for his first movie. So I wanted to get it made. So I wanted to ask you about that because you told me you have that role in Reality High as Miss Savage, right? You actually use your real name, which is hilarious to me. And you did a great job in that.
Thank you.
You said even the producers for that made you audition for that role. Like they weren't just going to give it to you. You had to prove yourself. So I wanted you to mention a little bit about that, for people that are out there trying to do what you're doing. How many years did you hear no? How long did it take you before you finally felt comfortable that like, oh, I'm doing it?
I mean, I've been making a quote unquote living off it for 3 years, but even in that period of time, it's just in this like last year. It's funny because you have the highs are so highs and the lows are so low, and you have to like every once in a while I have to like stop and take stock of, if I'm feeling like frustrated, things become commonplace. Like a year ago or 2 years ago, it was hard for us to get people to read our scripts, you know? And so even that, the fact that we can get people, not everybody, but we're consistently able to at least get people to read our stuff is like huge, and so you keep building on every little victory. But I mean, I've been in LA for 13 years. Yeah. So, and I had different iterations of my career. Like I started out just acting, and then I started writing, but I was really focused on acting, and then that like gradually just shifted to like writing, producing, and acting kind of became third in line. I still love acting, but it's just a different love than writing. I can get lost in it in like a way that I can't with acting usually.
What are you going to focus on going forward more? Like if in 10, 15 years, would you rather have made it as professional writer, professional actress? What's the main?
Writer, producer, and I'd love to just be able to give myself like small roles and things. Yeah. It's just more fun to me. I don't know, there's so much pressure in acting to me that I just think I'm a little bit of a lazy actor. Yeah. I have like characters I like to do. Yeah. And I mean, it's interesting if it's something that I wrote like very specific, and I thought I could really play the role well. It'd be nice to have a project at some point where I could try to have a bigger part in it. Yeah. But it's also having some sort of creative control over a project. I mean, unless you're a very like known actor, you're gonna come in towards the end of the process, which is great because that means something's probably getting made, but you could just kind of be a hired gun, like come in and do your job and leave. At least now we're getting to a point where hopefully we're having a little bit more of a creative say in our projects. Yeah. And that's really exciting. But it's like you can never stop, which I think is part of the reason I do it, because I think I like that challenge. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm insane. Why am I doing this? Yeah. But apparently, I mean, I must like it.
Well, so do you, as we said, you kind of started with accounting. Yeah. At this point, do you have a plan B, or are you full tilt and this is it now? You are a writer? producer, actress for the rest of the time?
No, my only plan B is just like thinking about like, oh, when I have enough money, I'll have a goat farm.
Goat farm?
Yeah, and I don't know how profitable that'll be. I mean, I guess I could make goat cheese, but
if you have organic goat cheese, yeah, in LA.
True. But I would be doing it to like rescue goats and have goats and pigs.
Yeah, and I feel like people would want to come pet the goats too. You can make some money at that. Probably.
Right, but then I have to be very careful because I'm not going to run a petting zoo. I'm an animal. I shouldn't say animal. Animals are great. I'm not a monster.
Yeah.
So I'd have to do it right. But yeah, I mean, things like that where I could either like, but those don't ever seem like money making sustainable schemes. So no, because there are times where like you're like, oh my god, if something doesn't happen, what if I don't make? Because you can like get paid on a movie and then not get paid for a year. Yeah. And so even if you're like responsible and you figure out a way to like be responsible about your money, you're still thinking about, well, what if I never get paid again?
Yeah. Well, it happens to everybody too, not just like the A-listers. I heard Jason Bateman the other day in an interview saying that obviously he was very famous, doing very well in the 80s, and he said in the 90s he was considering quitting. Yeah. And then luckily he got Arrested Development, and his whole career changed, and he was able to kind of blossom into what he is now. I love him, by the way. I love Ozark. It's great. Yeah, I'd do him too. But yeah, so it's not. It's that's the rub of it, because to make it, and it's just changing. You don't have to be in LA or New York anymore, but you still kind of do. Yeah. And people run into. I even ran into it myself when I was in Brooklyn, paying $2,500 a month to climb a ladder to get above a stove into a little loft bed. Yeah, and you have this moment of like.
It's even crazier. That's way crazier than LA even.
Yeah, but you have this moment of like, can I do this when I'm in my 60s and 70s? Yep. And that's the tough part about it. Everybody thinks that entertainment is so glamorous, but it's really a labor of love. And I'd say 98% of people that work in it aren't famous, aren't rich, are doing it because they love the art. And people forget that. So I'm really proud of you that you are doing everything you're doing, because it takes a lot of guts to do.
Well, I just don't know what else I would do. Like at this point, you think like the times when you get like scared or whatever, it's not like there's another option for me. So that's helpful. Like, it's not like I have something else that I'm like equally passionate about. Yeah. So that is nice to not. In that way, no, I don't have a plan B, because I wouldn't be happy doing anything else. So it's helpful, except for maybe goats. Yeah. Goats would make me happy.
Which I think you should do regardless.
Oh, I will. They're great.
You need to incorporate dogs though as well. A dog, goat.
Well, yeah. I mean, clearly I would have dogs, goats, cows, chickens, pigs. Oh. All that stuff.
I want to rewind back to one of your projects. I was looking at the Book of Chas over here. I skipped right over it. You acted in something called Vampire Slayer.
Oh, Huck and Rev.
I was not aware of this. What is that?
This is an indie film.
I saw that on your IMDb last night.
Yeah, this is an indie film, which hopefully should be coming out soon. And I play a vampire slayer. Okay. It is an indie horror comedy.
That sounds perfect for you.
It is perfect for me. It's so silly. Yeah.
Is it campy?
It's brilliantly stupid and campy. Yeah. And I told the director that, so I'm not talking shit. Like it is about these two guys who they believe that there are vampires in their sleepy little beach town, and nobody believes them, because this one guy is just always thinking there's vampires, werewolves. And so when a vampire actually does move to town, of course nobody believes him, and then he has to go after them. I am like the reluctant third, so I'm like the one that keeps them alive during the process of hunting these vampires, and it's a lot of blood. And there was one night we were shooting in the Malibu in the mountains, and you think Malibu, oh, that'd be warm, but it was like 20 degrees, and we had to keep getting squirted with like all this fake blood, and it was so fucking miserable, but awesome.
And it's not out yet, you said?
It's not out yet. It should be done soon. And then it'll do like the indie festival route to try to get distribution that way and see what happens with it. But yeah,
I will definitely check that out. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, and Casey's in that. My husband's in that as well.
Nice.
Yeah, he plays a cop.
Oh, you know what that reminds me of? I'm glad you said that, because I forgot. So Casey's a big fan of Tom Cruise.
Oh, the biggest.
Like the hugest fan. And so our mutual friend Dickie was kind of telling me this story, and he made it sound like he was afraid of what Casey might do.
That's fair.
But from Dickie's version and your version, it went smoothly, right? So do you want to tell that story of how you met?
So my husband,
you got to meet him too. You shook his hand as well, right?
I I don't think I shook his
Mr.
hand.
Cruz.
I didn't think I don't think I shook a hand. He said, "Hi, how are you?" And I said, "Good, how are you?"
Yeah.
But
because Casey posted, he's a huge fan, like a mega fan, and posted a Facebook photo saying he wasn't going to wash his hand, right, or something like that.
Yeah, it was like afterwards, I felt bad because like after about 2 hours, I wanted to just be like, shut up. But he was so happy. He just was like, yeah. But he is obsessed with Tom Cruise. He's seen every one of his movies. It's always been his dream. And when he came on James Corden before, Casey was like, I can't believe you didn't tell me. And he's like, because this is why. But then, so the next time he came on, he had us come on. We got to hang out in the green room, which I kind of wanted to just stay there because there was like really good drinks and free lobster rolls.
Oh, wow. Free lobster rolls.
I know, it was, like,
that's a pretty good green room, yeah.
And then, so we went out, we watched the show, and then we came back, and you could tell Casey just wanted to meet him so bad, but we weren't going to
Was he like shaking with excitement?
He was.
Casey's going to be so mad we're telling this story.
Oh, no, he loves anybody's talking about him. Yeah. He doesn't shake, his neck gets red. Whenever he gets emotional in any sort of way, his
like
neck
bulging,
just gets red.
Bulging neck red?
No, it's flat.
Just like a rash.
It's just red. Yeah, it's just like a nice rash.
Interesting.
So he was heading towards the door, and we were standing near the door, and so it was like he looked like such a movie star. He has aviators on, and he's very handsome. He's very, very well taken care of. And he's got his posse around him, and he's walking, and yes, we were standing near the door, but I know he could feel Casey's gaze on him, and he's known for being very like personable, and so he stopped and he like looked at us and he looked at Casey, and I think he just said like, how are you? And then Casey put his hand out and just went, thank you. And he's like, you're welcome. And then he said, like, how are you to me and Dickie or something like that. And then he was out the door, but he did stop. I do think he stopped specifically to talk to Casey because I think he could just feel Casey's like excitement coming off, and it was very sweet. It was very nice.
You said that he was very attractive, right?
Yes, very.
So this is I've heard conspiracy theories that he is taking anti-aging measures. Have you heard anything about this? Would you did he look that good that you would think that that's the truth? Like, do you think he's taking HGH or stem cell treatment or what? Because he looks the same as
if somebody said that, I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, he's clearly like aged a little bit. Like, I mean, he's in his 50s or whatever, but he looks incredible. Yeah. I mean, I think whatever he has access to. I mean, he's probably, I don't know what he's doing, but he looks good. He looks healthy.
Yeah.
I would imagine it's nothing like too bad for his body because he seems like he's very like.
I mean, I personally would do it. Like, people talk, they say, oh, I don't want to live forever. I don't want to live, like, I want to die at 70, 80. They say that because when you get to 70, 80, you're old and it sucks.
Yeah.
But if you can be 70 or 80 and in shape, that sounds amazing.
Keep it going.
So would you be a guinea pig and do something like that? If somebody came to you, you're on set one day and they're like, Jana,
and I'm like, yes.
I got this pill.
And I'm like, please talk to my agent. Sorry, what?
You would do it?
I mean, has it been tested by the FDA?
No. Just some new Hollywood thing. No? I'd do it.
Most people are fucking crazy. They put crazy shit into their bodies.
There's all kinds of stuff though now. There's this guy, Dr. David Sinclair. NAD, I think, is the pill that he has.
NAD?
Yes.
He's taking NADs?
NAD, I never thought about it. It stands for something that helps with ATP, energy production in cells. But more or less, there's a few things that make you age from your the telomere shortening and all these different things. But one of them is your cells don't make as much ATP or energy. And so he's come out with this thing. He was recently on Joe Rogan's podcast, actually, talking about it. And I don't know if it's true or not. I took some of it a year ago and didn't feel any change. It's kind of expensive.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, I'll wait.
What were you expecting to happen?
Well, that's the thing. So I'm young. It's made more for people that are in their 60s, 70s, 80s.
You can't grow a beard anymore?
No, I was taking it proactively to prevent the long-term aging.
Yeah, I got it. It's not retroactive.
And it's not a beauty thing. It's not going to make your skin look good. It's just so that you don't lose muscle mass over time or whatever. Like, I think bodybuilders use it and whatnot.
I mean, are there side effects?
Not that they know of. So what he did, and he was a scientist at Harvard. He, I think, doubled the lifespan of mice with it. So obviously, when they do these tests about mice, they do them all the time for different things, and it always makes the news, and everybody gets excited. But it's a mouse. So until they can do it with like monkeys or things that are closer to us, you can't really get excited. And I think they are in ape trials now. And whether they're set, well, it's not. But it's not. Once again, it's not dangerous as far as I know. Like, I took it, right? And I feel I hope I'm all right. Do I sound weird?
You got pretty mouth.
Yeah, my mind is definitely warped, but that was before the drugs.
Yep. That was the other
and
drugs.
I can't call it a drug. It's a vitamin. It's all it does is allow your cells to make energy more efficiently. Supposedly. I mean, I'll send you a link to it actually, so you can check it out.
Are you being paid by them?
No.
Are they sponsoring
in fact,
this
if
podcast?
somebody would like to sponsor this podcast, we do not have a sponsor yet. So please give me your money.
Look, I'm open to most things. I mean, people get really judgy on the way people deal with aging, and I'm like, whatever blows your hair back. I mean, it's hard not to notice sometimes some of the lengths that people go to, because sometimes you're like, Jesus.
Yeah, and I'm not talking like plastic surgery type of stuff like this. Once again, this isn't going to make you look young. It's going to make you feel better and age more slowly. So say you started taking it now, you would look like you were, in your 40s when you were in your late 50s.
Are you saying I look I'm in my 40s?
I mean, I thought you were pushing 70, honestly. I was
72
LA, the sun, Jana, wear sunscreen.
Old. Oh no, I'm gonna crack. I'm gonna crack so hard.
No, honestly, you look great. You know that. The beautiful and talented Jana Savage. But yeah, so I don't know. Like I said, I stopped taking it because I didn't feel a difference, and it was expensive, and I was kind of like, "There's so much placebo snake oil. Who knows?"
Well, you're definitely not gonna get a sponsorship now.
Well, no. So that's what I was about to say. In case you're listening, Dr. David Sinclair, maybe I can interview Dr. David Sinclair someday. I had been emailing with him. Isn't that funny? This is before he was famous, so I've had some emails back and forth with him asking him questions. Because I was at one point pre-med at Boulder, Colorado, so I know a teeny bit about it. Not enough to consider myself an expert, but so I kind of had stopped and was like, I'll wait and see. And then just a few weeks ago, he was on Joe Rogan talking about age reversal. So I'm thinking, and I think Joe does a good job screening his guests. I mean, Elon Musk on, he has big people.
Was Joe Rogan into it?
Well, so this is the thing. I actually haven't listened to it yet. I just saw that he was on, so I'm assuming he's there to talk about that. Because there's another guy, Dan Blazeri, who's kind of like, have you heard of him? He's like the meathead Instagram, like shoots guns, bang hot chicks guy. And he had him on talking about life extension, and I guess he was flying down to Mexico and doing stem cell treatment stuff, and said it worked. And I guess he had some injuries that it fixed, and so I think Joe Rogan is pro stem cell and HGH. He doesn't like steroids though, because he's coming from like the UFC fight world, so there's a lot of weird stuff with that.
Right, and he's not like into hairy backs and
well, there's lots of problems. I mean,
rages and tiny peepees.
Yes,
I think that covers all of the side effects.
Yes, yeah. So who knows if once again, I think all it does is increase the ATP production in your cells. But it could shrink your penis Vagina. As well. Yes, your clitoris will fall off.
No, I need that. I don't need it, but I appreciate it.
Yes. God, that was a nice little tangent there on
how do we get
living
to
forever.
Clitori falling off. Oh, and living forever.
Yes, jeez. Yeah. Clitori, my goodness, I'll have to. I don't know if this is YouTube appropriate anymore. So the Book of Chaz over here is done, but let me look and see what we're at time wise. Oh, we've got so much time.
We have so much time?
We have 20 more minutes.
Oh my god, okay.
So I'm going to go back and revisit some things then. Okay. Oh yes, I do have one thing on here.
Oh,
so I was in my head trying to think if we had ever acted or worked on stuff together, and we have, and I totally forgot about it. Do you know what they are? There's two things that we've worked on.
The Ugly Duckling in first grade.
Oh my god, that's true. I forgot about that. The play.
Yeah, that's not even one. The Ugly Duckling, and so that every student could have a solo.
Yeah.
Everybody got to come up to me and sing to me, "Why are you so ugly, 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 ugly? Why are you so ugly? Why don't you look us?" Okay, so that's not one of them. All right,
but that's hilarious. Which, by the way, I was thinking about this yesterday driving. Didn't I used to say Jana Banana with the meatball eyes, put you in the oven and make French fries, and you get pissed off about it? Was that you?
I don't remember, but I can see why that would be upsetting.
As I was driving here today, that popped in my head. I was like, did I used to say that to Jana? And I think you got pissed about it. Which I don't know where that comes from. I think I didn't make it up. It's like a rhyme little kids say to each other. But what the hell does that mean?
I don't know, because that's like my
Jana Banana with the meatball eyes, put her in the oven, and she makes French fries.
It makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
Maybe that's why I got upset about it.
I think because you thought I was saying you had meatball eyes.
Yeah.
But as far as I know, it's like it's a nursery rhyme thing that kids say. But you just made me think of it with the ugly duckling thing. That's hilarious. I forgot all about that.
Now I'm going to think about meatball eyes all night. Thanks a lot.
But
okay, so that wasn't it?
Yeah, no, we did two projects.
Seth's movie?
Well,
were you in Seth's movie? Because I was.
Well, no, but I was kind of, because Seth helped on my movie too. So that's kind of what it is. That's one of them. The Cold one, remember, with Matt Hurley, where you were like the Russian.
Yeah, I won Best Actress.
I'll put a link to that too. I've got that out there somewhere.
I didn't even speak, so that tells you how powerful my acting is.
It's because we were so last minute and lazy that we didn't have any sound. The whole movie doesn't have sound.
I thought it was because my emoting was so powerful.
That too. This was an abandoned little room. I had an apartment downtown, and we had an abandoned room next door. I don't know what that room ever was. It was like an empty concrete room.
But it had like a bar in it.
Yeah, and I don't know why. I think probably there was a bar on the first floor of that building.
So maybe some weird sex club back in the 20s.
Well, there's an elevator that went up and down, and the owner, who I'll leave his name out obviously, but we'd always come. He was my landlord, and I'd come home actually, and he would be sitting in my living room smoking cigarettes. That was the type of landlord he was, like just let himself in.
I don't know if that's a kind of landlord. Like that's not like a type of landlord. He would have
his legs crossed like this, and he'd be sitting in the dark in this little chair. John Gillis and I lived there, and we'd walk in, and he'd just be smoking a cigarette in the living room. We'd go, "Hey boys."
It wasn't a common area. It was just your apartment?
No, it was our apartment. But we were fine with it, and he was a nice guy. But he would just sit there and tell us stories. And one of his stories was
lonely.
Probably, yeah. But one of his stories was that he used to move bricks of cocaine. Nice. So he owned the bar down on the first floor of this building, and he would bring it up and down the elevator. Had this whole thing. So now I'm realizing that's probably what that room. Sex club? Like, I don't know if it was a sex club, but that room definitely was like used for nefarious, strange things. So we converted it to make it look like a Russian bar, and it worked perfectly.
It was great. It was really
funny. And Jana
was
great in it. I'll put a link to that one.
I watched that not too long ago for some reason. It came up, somebody had posted it, and it was pretty fun.
Well, it might have been me actually, because I've got boxes of old tapes that I'm probably being crazy about this, but I've heard that tapes and CDs eventually do go bad. I'm sure it's 50 years or something, but in my head I'm like even old VHS ones, I'm like, it's gonna go bad unless I save it. So I've been going through shoeboxes of old stuff and slowly uploading them to this weird YouTube channel that I have that nobody knows about, but so that way they're out there in the ether somewhere, so you might have seen it that way. But and our mutual friend Matt Hurley's in that, and he's great. But yeah, there's no sound in it because we were just so lazy. I think was it Josh Gass, I think, that was doing the 24-hour film festival, right? And talked all of us into doing it. Yeah. And I don't think enough people had signed up, and so last one he was like, "What the hell are you guys?" And we were like, "Fine, we'll do it."
That
like
was
12
the one
hours out.
Where my cousin almost got arrested doing that.
Doing what?
That festival.
Got arrested though.
They did this. They did a short. We beat him. Suck it. But he had asked my grandmother if he could use the dental office to record.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah. And the alarms go.
It was like a heisty thing, and so there was a bunch of like guys dressed in black filming breaking into my grandparents' dental office, or my uncle's dental office, which is attached to my grandparents' house. Yeah. So my grandmother lived there alone, and she had this really nice couple that lived next door and would like kind of keep an eye on her, and so they look out the window and see a bunch of people dressed in black breaking into the dental office, so they called the cops. And they actually had the camera rolling, so it's in the film
of the cops coming,
and they come in and they bust them in, and they're down on the ground, and then so my cousin's like, "No, my grandmother said I could do this," so he's like, they bring him upstairs, and my grandmother's like, "Don't hurt my grandson, I said he could do it." So yeah, that was awesome. That was the same competition.
Yeah, because people and like the cops must have been so confused because it's Bangor, Maine. It's not like anybody's used to filming.
Like, yes!
So, they were ready to kill some people.
SWAT!
We're shooting somebody in the leg at least once. No, that was a great time. We did not win, I have to say.
We didn't win?
Nope. It was Ian Bagley and Skylar's movie won. And granted, I'll give it to him. I was mad at the time because my ex-girlfriend started dating Ian Bagley. So I was quite upset that they won first place. It was good, though. It was rightfully so, theirs was better. I mean, they had sound. We didn't have sound. They had good sound. It was shot well.
Yeah. Like, I guess I was just saying I won because I won by Best Actress.
Yes. Well, you were in 2 or 3 of or just 2, mine and...
I think I was just in 1.
So we won Best Actress for ours?
Yeah. I mean, I won it.
Well, you won.
Me.
Okay. Obviously, it wasn't that important to me. I don't even remember. I was probably pissed that we lost overall. But yeah.
Wait, so there was another project we worked on?
Oh, yes, yeah, okay. Also with the Gasses. So Mushing Mill. You were in Mushing Mill, right?
Yeah, Seth's movie.
Yeah, so when you were saying Seth's movie, you were talking about that.
It was Seth and Josh and John, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So when you were saying Seth's movie, I thought because he also collaborated on Bagley's. That's why I was confused.
Yes, I was in a scene with Ian in Bagley.
Yep. Yeah, I wasn't acting in that. I was doing second assistant camera.
Okay, yeah.
But that was honestly probably what kind of spawned me to have the initiative to go out to LA, because at the time Josh was still living in LA and was just back here filming it.
Yeah, me too.
Josh and Seth Gass are mutual friends of ours, and it was a great. Honestly, it made the news. Like Josh, I think raised like $100,000 or something total for it. So it was the first real not professional, but indie film to come through and forever.
Yeah, I always wanted to be an actor, but I never would have like admitted it to anybody because I was like, "Oh, you're from Maine. What? Like you can't go be an actor." My mom's choreographer, and like so I grew up around the theater, at least theater adjacent. And then once I did that film, I was like, oh, I really like this. So I secretly, when I was in Boston, I started taking acting classes at like not a good place. Now I think about it, it was like they totally scammed me.
The back alley behind 7-Eleven.
Yep, that was it.
Freddie and Mikey.
Yeah, they were very talented. And then, but I wouldn't tell anybody because I was like embarrassed. And then I finally like came clean that I was like, I gotta tell you guys something. I'm taking acting classes. And they were like, oh, that makes sense. And then that was why I was like, I could do this. And then I found like a program through my school where I could go live in LA and intern. But that was like what set it in motion because I had so much fun. It's
funny you mentioned that because I think a lot of people go through that. I know I did because when I moved to LA, I was doing production, and my roommate, our mutual friend Matt Hurley, was doing just acting. And one day, I remember he came out. I think we were all like smoking weed or something, and watching a movie.
Sounds right.
And he came out and we were talking about production. My roommate Jacob and I. And he looks at us, he goes, "I don't know how the hell you guys can get excited about that." And at this time, I secretly did want to act. I just wasn't willing to mention to anybody. And I wanted to turn to him and go, well, I want to act too. Like, it's not just production I like. Yeah. And it took me, I think I worked production. When I was in school, I worked at Jimmy Kimmel Live and Ellen DeGeneres while I was in school. So a few years of talk shows and reality. Then Extreme Makeover for years. It took, honestly, till moving to Brooklyn that I finally was like, because it was a new city and a new fresh start. And I said, you know what? It's fine. I feel comfortable finally saying I'm going to do it. I'm going to go audition. And it's interesting that people have that phobia of admitting you want to be an actor or actress because there's like, so much judgment. People, oh really? You think you're so cool or you want to be famous?
Such a hard thing to achieve, but like most things in the entertainment industry are hard to achieve.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't mean to say it's harder to be an actress than it is to work, but it's equally as hard.
No, but that's the perception, and I mean, I guess it's just more the general public doesn't care as much about any other like job within the industry. I mean, maybe like they know directors, maybe they know like who the biggest producers are, but that's who you see. So it seems like such an unrealistic like goal, like, oh, you want to be an actor, and like.
Well, also I think just the vanity of it. Like when you look at a director or producer, they're considered an artist. They kind of get not the same level of respect as like an author or a painter or something, but they have respect. Yeah. When you tell somebody, oh, I'm out in LA, I want to be an actress, what's the first thing they say? Like, oh, what restaurant do you work at? Yeah. Or like
until you make it, and then they're like, whoa. Yeah. I mean, I mean, none of us are curing cancer, but what we do is important.
No, it's super important. I was talking to my dad about that. Like I said, I was pre-med at first because my dad's a chiropractor. He wanted me to go into medicine, which both my brother and sister did, a whole family of healers, they call themselves. And I got an argument with him one day where I said, you know, healthcare wouldn't matter if there wasn't the arts. And he was like, well, what do you mean? And I was like, well, what's the point of life if there's not the arts? Like if there's no books, music, movies, actors and actresses, all that stuff, it does matter. And it's funny that people look down on it through their nose.
It's a quality.
Yeah,
quality of life.
People will rant and rave about how important reading is, right? I have this one friend, I won't mention his name, he'll get really mad, but he just all the time harps on how...
He knows, though.
He knows who he is. And he'll go on and on about novels. I'm like, you realize a novel is just a form of entertainment. It's the same thing as if you went and watched movies for a few hours, but you're just reading for a few hours. Yeah. It's just a different way to take in...
To consume it.
An experience.
Consume art.
And so it bothers me sometimes that we don't get the same level of respect to other industries.
Well, yeah, there's no right way to consume art. I mean... Yeah.
And honestly, at the end of the day, life is about being happy, right? It's true. So, in my personal experience, if there isn't art, it'd be a lot harder to be happy, I think.
Yeah, I too struggle with the meaning of life, like most of us. But I think the one thing the common denominator or the thing to boil down to is like trying to like mitigate suffering. And the opposite of suffering is obviously like joy, and so it's like anything we're doing that's same with like other beings, trying not to inflict any sort of suffering on anybody else or trying to help other people not suffer. Like that seems like
that's the point of it.
It's the point of it, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah.
We just got so deep.
No, this is the whole point. It's funny.
What you get,
when I submitted the first episode with Ian, I did it through this company called Anchor that then submits you to iTunes and all the other ones. They immediately wrote back and they're like, yeah, your podcast got denied. And I was like, why? And they're like, well, the description is pretty vague. It just says that you're going to ask people random questions about life. That's literally what it says. It says Chas Bruns asks random people questions about life. So yeah, we can talk about life and weird crap because it all goes together. That's honestly, that's why I like watching Joe Rogan. Or I told you I've been listening to Dax Shepard recently. Like, yes, he's talking to celebrities and entertainment, but they're mostly talking about their lives, like having kids or the drugs they did when they're in high school or weird stuff like that.
Well, that's much more relatable than just talking about an industry that most people don't work in.
Yeah.
Or, you know.
Well, I think what it is for me, at least, when I say, or when I have an interest in those shows, it's not because the people are famous or necessarily entertainment. It's just that they're successful and or happy. And so I'm then interested to find out how they became that way. Yeah. So I think people look like, I know...
A lot of rosé is my secret.
Yes.
Rosé and
Jana
puppies.
sleeps till noon.
Yep.
Then immediately gets drunk.
Really get drunk.
You know.
That's it.
Eats a donut or 2 or 5. Yeah. And then goes back to bed. And if she finds time to write...
So be it.
But no, joking aside, I think a lot of people are fascinated about how the process of getting there, and there's not one right way or wrong way to get there. Like, I know I said this at your house the other night. We were talking about genetics and being healthy. I had a friend whose grandfather lived till 98, woke up, smoked a cigarette, took a shot of whiskey, and ate eggs and bacon. That was his routine. So Tim Ferriss on his podcast talks to a lot of like Fortune 500 CEOs about when they wake up and what their whole process is. But there's no right way to get there.
No, like, it's obnoxious because a lot of those people that get up and like go at 6 a.m. and don't stop, like there's also a certain personality that thrives off that. And so yes, maybe that is why they're so successful. But success looks different to everybody, and maybe not, you know, being number one isn't everyone's ideal success. I mean, I think there's a reason why a lot of super successful people are not to shit on them, but may not be happy because they might not have a balance, you know. So no, I don't get up at 6 every morning and start writing, but I'm obviously, I do work very hard, and that is like the key, is working really hard. But at some point, it's like, you know, when, you know, living in LA, everyone's like, you gotta go to every party, you gotta go to every event. Network. And there's some truth in it, because you do randomly meet people, and then 7 years later, that could turn into like some sort of, you know, partnership that ends up being the thing that breaks you. But you know, also it's like, no, that, staying home and watching Netflix. Yeah. There's this guy, Gary Vaynerchuk, who talks about a big game about how he's constantly working all this stuff, but he says, you know, I understand if that's not you. Yeah. Right? Like, you don't, like, Mark Wahlberg, I saw an interview with him the other day, wakes up at 4 in the morning. Yeah. Okay? I'm not going to enjoy that. Even if I was Mark Wahlberg, I was a multimillionaire and famous, if I was waking up at 4 every day and doing 3 hours in the gym, like, that works for The Rock and for him, and I feel like that's, I don't think I'd be happy. Yep. And once again, as we said earlier, the key to life is happiness, no matter what it is. Even if you want to just go sit in a cave and, like, draw on the wall, if that makes you happy, cool. If cave drawing is your thing, fucking do it. Yeah. Doesn't matter what your dad says, whether there's no money in it. Yeah. But the thing with Mark Wahlberg that I love, Marky Mark, is that, and I love that he has those two names, he's two different people. So at one point, when he was younger, he was like getting in trouble, going to jail, drinking on the weekends, sleeping until noon, being a D-bag, probably. Like, I don't think I would have liked meeting young Marky Mark in Boston. If you were in Dorchester, he probably he probably would have beat me up. I would have been like, this guy's a douche. And then you now fast forward to how successful, and he's so humble and nice and generous and you know, in shape and all this stuff. So if you're listening to this and you're like, I'm a piece of shit, and I'm watching Chas and Jana, and I can't believe what Jana's achieving with a Netflix movie, you might be in your Marky Mark stage, and eventually you're going to be Mark Wahlberg. So you don't have to be waking up at 4 a.m. right now. It also depends how old you are. If you're like 19 listening to this, you're going to be in an entirely different place than when you're 40. And so there is no right or wrong way to get there. But this is my segue back to you. How did you get there, Jana? What was the day that, let's say, would you say Reality High was the turning point for you? And I guess my question is how did that happen? I know you had writing partners, but like who gave you that chance or got your foot in the door? That was, I mean, before that, we had worked on a movie that was in theaters. It was called The Perfect Match. And the way that came about was like, they needed a rewrite, this company. And they were like, we need a page 1 rewrite in 10 days because we're shooting this movie no matter what. And we're like, so my writing partner, they had approached him and he's like, I can't do a page 1 rewrite in 1 day, but I have to. This is before we like kind of really solidified as a team. They said, me and my 2 writing, friends who write, when we write together, he said, maybe we could do it. Yeah. And so there was like nothing guaranteed at that point. There was no money. There was no nothing. It was like, go basically rewrite a script in 10 days and submit it. And if it's better than what we have, we're going to shoot it. And so we did. And we did. And they liked it and they shot it. And I mean, it wasn't life changing in the sense of like money or anything like that.
Yeah.
But that was like our foot in the door. And then from there, that company had said they'd be interested in doing a like updated She's All That type movie with the black lead. And so we went and we wrote that on spec. Again, no money, no nothing.
Yeah.
And then by the time we were done, they didn't have time for it or space for it on their slate or whatever. So they were like, okay, go take it. You can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
And we had a friend in Netflix in the legal department.
Okay.
It was in the very early days of them doing movies. And so she's also executive producer on our film. But she read it and really liked it and thought it fit some of like what they were looking for as far as like categories of viewers they needed and wanted. And so she took it to her boss, and it was actually super quick. From the time we wrote that movie to shooting it was like, or was it from the time we wrote it to release was 2 years.
No kidding.
So which is insane.
And so I don't mean to interrupt you, but so far it sounds like a lot of random ass chance, right?
Yes.
After like your friend first was like, oh, let's give Jana a shot, right? So then you're in there. And then what'd you say? She worked in some department?
She's a lawyer at Netflix. Also,
so you just randomly had a friend.
My partners did. They both were friends with her.
So then I guess my question now to you is, how much do you think is random chance, luck, who you know, like?
Well, it's like, it's obviously some of it is who you know, but it's because we had all been in LA for 10 years and the reason we knew a lot of those people, yes, a lot of it was from, both my partners went to Howard. Yeah. And so they have a really strong supportive community out there in the entertainment business, but also it doesn't matter if you have connections if you don't have if you're not ready for those connections. Like, yeah.
Well, no, the talent aspect, of course.
Like, you have to have, like, something to offer.
But you know, there's going to be somebody listening to this in, like, Idaho. Yeah. And they're going to go, well, I'm not in L.A., so I'm just screwed. What do you say to that person? Like, do you think you need to be in Los Angeles or New York?
Yeah. Starting out, yeah.
Yeah, even now with the way YouTube and everything is, like...
Yeah, because so much of it, too, is just meeting people and, like, people liking you and being like, oh, I want to work with that person. And that, like, especially for writers, has been great for us because we're personable, we're fun to work with, so it's like, I think...
It's not what I heard.
Not what you heard? Oh, that I'm personable? Go f*** yourself. I can't imagine starting out not being in one of those places, especially like when you're young and you have the energy to like go to all of the events and stuff. Yeah. I think once you've established yourself, there's also a million different ways to do it, and what are you interested in? That also... You don't have to be in LA to be in the industry. And some people who are doing podcasts, like one of my favorite podcasts, they're in like West Virginia.
Yeah, we're in Bangor, Maine right now.
Yeah. So for my path that I went, I wouldn't have been able to do it from anywhere else. But again, that's my path. Yeah. But yeah, a lot of it is just timing, connections, and then once you have the opportunity, being ready for the opportunity. So like, I remember one time I got a meeting with a showrunner. And he was super nice, but I was like, I was thinking it. I know he was thinking it. Why am I having this meeting? Yeah. Like, there was no reason for me to be meeting with him other than, like, I knew him through somebody. And so he was super nice about it, but I was like, all right, I'm going to come back when I have anything to offer you or something specific to ask of you. Yeah. So, yeah, it is random. It is a lot of just your friends and your friends of your friends. Yeah. And having the right material at the right time. So I would say it's a lot of hard work and luck, which is what
do you say to people that are fresh out there that don't know anybody yet and are like, do you suggest cold mailing scripts? Because I used to read scripts at Sony, and I'd say 99% of them just go in a trash can. Also, they don't even go to any when I was there, I was an intern, right? Yeah. And they went to Chas Bruns, and I was deciding whether they went in the trash can. Yeah. So do you suggest that people do that, waste of time? And it's probably different. That was like 12 years ago I was doing that, but do people still just send hard scripts to the studios and hope somebody reads it? And a lot of time people can't even do that legally because then they'll get accused of stealing the idea.
Yeah, a lot of time they'll just return it to you.
Yeah, they'll just throw it away, right?
They'll return it to you, they'll throw it away. I mean, yeah, I don't know if that ever works. I mean, because like you said, a lot of people will just like turn around and send it back and say, we can't read this. Yeah. No, I think you just want to get somebody to read your stuff.
But so do you think rather than going to a big studio and throw it away, should you go find a production company and sign with them and say, hey, like...
Yeah, I
guys
mean,
are
there might
budding-
be now more than ever too. There's all these like platforms for you. There's like the Blacklist where you can submit a script and people will read it, and there's all these different like there's contests, there's programs, there's like writing programs that you can actually they ask you to submit samples.
Yeah.
There might be specific things they're asking for, like a spec pilot or a spec script of a show that already exists. I don't know. I had a really weird way into writing. I didn't come out to LA to write, so I didn't do a traditional path in that sense. But yeah, that wouldn't be my advice. Would not be to just start sending your script out, because you don't know too. People can steal your shit.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a real
happens.
thing that does happen.
It does
With
happen.
music as well. People will be submitting their demos to places, and all of a sudden they hear there's a similar song on the radio. Like, it happens.
So yeah.
We are at our full hour now. Yeah, so we'll see if anybody likes Jana and watches this episode. I'm banking on some big hits here.
It's really about me.
It's all about you. Yes.
I'm happy to be here. Get in on the ground floor, as they say.
Yes. I'm
Like
psyched you came.
I want 10% of all the money you make.
No way. Jana gets no money from this podcast.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I love you. That's it. We'll wrap it. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
See you next time.